everybody, it is Romania Black, and we're on episode 22 of Natsume Yujin-Cho, or Natsume's Book of Friends, whichever way you want to go. And yeah, so season 2 is chugging right along. We are just booking through it, which is pretty exciting. Last week we had a very emotional episode, emotions and dying, if you will. And yeah, so this season has been filled with really cute yokai, lots of emotion, Natsume getting in his feelings, and then reaching out with these yokai and trying to like sort through all of his emotions, learning more about Rei and Reiko and the process of it. And it's just been a really, really good season. I've been really happy with season 2 so far, and we're technically on episode 9 of season 2. So this is the transition into, there are 13 episodes of season 2. So we're transitioning into that final arc of this season, which Natsume Yujin-Cho has been mostly episodic and not really with arcs, but this has been kind of the first time we've had a couple like two-parters and some leading into like the season finale from last season. And so I'm really excited to get into this second, like this final little patch of episodes for season 2 and then go from there. So it should be a good time, right? Right? So with that being said, I'm super excited, but we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to dive right into it. I sat down, I got home, I settled in, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm super excited to watch this, and I've been wanting to watch it all day, so I'm really excited. But before we start, I want to give a really quick shout out over to the philanthropy tier over on Patreon as I record this video. I'm super grateful for everybody on YouTube that subscribes. I'm super grateful for all of the patrons that I have over on Patreon, but especially the philanthropy tier. They get a special shout out in my videos each week. So I want to say a special thank you to Alex Cornejo, to Anime Annie, to Be Happy, to Bryant Reed, to Dana, to Danny Donmai, to Daverin, to Destiny Marie, to Danger Zone, to Damage 3245, as well as Ichu, Eric, Fisho, Ghostly Turnip, as well as El Freya, Lyndon, Matthew Palvinier, Murphew, Nameless Monster, Nicholas, No Nickname, as well as Sunspots, Shimoyama, Trails, and Translucent Men. Thank you all so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. So yeah, I don't know where we're going to get this episode. Last week, we had the one spirit that Natsume was helping out, and the whole deal with the inn and everything. They were going on a study date and all just went awry. And then there was like tears because the grandma and the grandson. And I was just like, you know what? It's one of those weeks where it's just going to be a sob fest. I think there was multiple series on my channel last week that I just cried during. And I was like, what is this? Why is there a full moon? So yeah, I'm pretty excited to dive in, y'all, and see what we get. I hope you all are as well. But we're not going to waste any more time. We are going to dive right into Natsume Yujin-Cho if I can get these right. And we're going to... it's one of those days. But we're going to get started here. I'm going to get everything set up. Got my subtitles on. Everything's going good. And we're going to get this started here in 3, 2, 1. And let's do it to it, Lars. I feel like it takes it like a hot second to start sometimes. And I don't know why Natsume is like that. I feel like the other series, when you hit play, you got to be at the ready. And it's the streaming service that I'm using. But I feel like with other shows that I'm watching, like March Comes In Like a Lion and Apothecary Diaries, I'm watching them through the same streaming service. With those series, if you're not ready when you press that play button, it will just like jump in. You're like, oh crap. And so, but Natsume, in its true chill fashion, is like, we're just going to ease you into it. So that's fine. It's fine. It's so funny because I'm recording this in like the dead heat. It's as summer is ending and fall is right around the corner. And yet it's like fall and winter in the series. So it always feels so out of place when you watch a series and the environment of it is not like what you're watching in. But it's fine. Are we going to get any other little mysteries here that will be noticeable? Well, yeah, there's Taki. Interesting. I guess maybe the bridge could connect to the last episode because they had to cross it to go to the inn. Oh, look at how cute Nyanko Sensei is. Oh, that's really sweet. With the clover. That's kind of cute. Oh, get the octopus. Oh, this is actually really cute. This feels so 90s for some reason. It feels so nostalgic. Oh, I love a good craft fair. I love a good fair. Get into it, Natsume. Don't be stealing. Oh my god! Oh my god, yes! Like the lucky cat. Aww. Cute. Don't be causing mischief, Nyanko. Ah! What? He's like, I hate you. Nyanko Sensei. Oh. Where's the spirit? Where's it at? Like his eyes kind of look like slits there a little bit. Huh. Interesting. I like that time seemed to like stop. Oh. Oh. That was really cool. I like that effect of it just being so quiet. You're just giving away your painting? Is it cursed? Sir! The man amidst the rows of cherry trees. I don't know if I would trust a man that just gave away a painting. Why do you like it? What does it represent to you? Yeah, it'd be nice if there were flowers in bloom. Is this like, you know, subliminal, you're attracted to it because the trees are bare? Like your soul? Oh no. That man, that's why he gave away the painting. Oh. Huh. That seems like a nice gesture, but... Huh. Uh-oh. Oh yeah, is it just like... Is it sucking away the life out of you? Yeah. More petals. Oh, no, I don't think that for once. Of all the nerve! Ha! Yeah. So, common denominator. Before something bad happens. Aww. That threatens this house. There we go. Oh, it's hot. Well, get rid of the painting then, if that's the common denominator. Oh my god, with the little fish. Why do you have a net? Fairies, really? I like that they say imaginary creatures when they're yokai and everything there. Oh my god. Nyanko. Are they like little elves coming out of the paintings? Oh, wow. Do they have a cut on their hand? Oh, shit. Well, that's a bit creepy. Oh! Young Missy! That mask is a bit creepy. To him. To the painting? What's... Ah! Oh my god. Oh my god. No, the painting. Ah. Oh, is there something there in the painting? Something hidden? Oh, creepy. Yasaka. Oh my gosh, that's so creepy. Oh. This wretched house. Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh shit. No. Uh-oh. Madara! Come on! Get in there and help! What? Mia! Oh my god. Don't leave these creepy petals behind! Wow. That's a really good effect. Uh. Oh. So what are they supposed to do? What are they doing? Oh. So what happened? Explain. Oh, I love the butterflies. Are they representing him and her? Did she fall in love with him? I like that he has to carry Madara. Ah. Oh. But he took your breath away more? Oh. Oh. Ooh, and the hand coming down the window is the same. Oh. Ooh. I mean, how could he not think you were not just human? Oh. And he was... Okay, and Natsume can relate to that. They probably see a deer outside. Oh. Oh. Yeah, why can't I see? Oh. But was he never able to leave the house? Oh no, or was it because he was ill? Oh. Oh, her hand just hanging there. Oh my god. Oh. A yokai painted it. But there are no cherry blossoms, so maybe he was lonely thinking of her. How does she know it's him, though? There definitely seems to be more to the story that we're not getting. Aww. I mean, she's clearly... She cares about him, but I feel like there's so much more to the story we don't know yet. Ha! Oh, I'm glad that you didn't say that outright, Madara. Oh. 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 Uh-oh. Weird cough you got there. Aw. I was like, don't be catching a curse or a cold from that painting, Natsume. Ah! Aw. Carrying just that painting. Trying to see him again. Oh, hi. Oh, I'm glad you know this, Madara, and you're just gonna say it. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Well, that's creepy. Oh. Uh-oh. Ooh. Oh, we're gonna do about this. Oh. Oh, I wish you could tell her. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. We're gonna talk about that. But the tree growing from your corpse, that's, oh my god. Uh-oh. Oh my god, is it like draining his life? Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh my god. Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh no! Oh shit! Oh. Like, no. Oh, that's, yeah, stupid Natsume. Oh no. Oh. Oh my god, the hand, like, the fact that he didn't find that creepy. He had to have known she was a yokai. Had to have. Oh. Yeah, it looks like it. Oh my god. Oh my god, well that's great. Oh. 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 And it's just the painting. Oh. Oh, that's so sad. Ah, damn it. Oh, and it looks like the tree looks like it's a teardrop coming down her face. Oh. 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 Mia and I are alike, Sensei. Oh. Oh. So maybe if he can find a way to help her, then it could find a way to help himself, maybe. Oh, because he knows she won't come because of the branches being empty. I know. Hmm. Oh. It's Madara snoring. Oh. Yeah, oh my gosh. I wish we could see the... why'd she knock on the window if she could just come in? I guess she was being courteous. Oh. 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 Maybe after you paint the cherry blossoms on, we won't have to... Oh. Toko's gonna come in and see all these pink splotches on the wall and be like, what are we doing? Oh, that's really cute. Oh. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. Oh my god. Oh. And does he get... oh. A dog seeing silly deer out the window, probably. It did seem like the painting was connecting to him. Like it was trying to use him as a host. Uh-huh. Oh. 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 And they get to be together. And there goes the mask. Oh. How romantic. And he was gone too. Oh. Oh. And they both went off together. Oh. Yeah, I think so. We were talking about you're stealing my discussion, Natsume. No, you're taking away the discussion points, Natsume. Stop. Oh, and now they're free together. Yeah. He became a yokai to travel with her. Oh. I'm sure he knew the truth. Oh. 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 Maybe one day you can tell Toko the truth. Maybe one day. Oh. Damn. Just give us that complete episode right there and then, won't ya? Won't ya? I'm always impressed that every time I'm like, we're going to get a concise story with Natsume just right there and then. And that's exactly what happens. Damn. That was really good. That was really good. I'm so impressed. So impressed, in fact. Aww. I really hope that Natsume gets to a point where he can talk about the yokai with Toko, but I mean, we're only on season 2, so we still got a long way to go. We still have quite a ways, don't you know? These goons. I tell ya. I think that there is a deer outside because it's this time of year when the deer start to move and they move in front of my home. And if my dog can see out the window and see them, he just starts barking at them, even though there is no way, shape, or form he can get to them. So hopefully the mic doesn't pick that up though. I got this mic because I didn't think it was gonna pick up that noise. Oh man. So yeah. Wow. Huh. Oh, this was such a good episode. This was such a good episode. We need to just go ahead and talk about it, I suppose. Oh, man. I know. My dog's at my feet. Dog's barking at deer. This was just, I'm always just in love with the fact that Natsume can give us just a very straightforward, here is the episode, here's what it is, I hope y'all enjoy. And it's always just really, really cute, right? So I absolutely love the opening of this. I'm going to be very curious to watch the manga and read it. But the idea of like the open farmers market, the kind of rummage sale, the festival where it's just things you can buy, knickknacks. I always like those. I grew up, my family, we were very middle class. So we grew up just like, you always went to rummage sales. Like my great grandmother, she'd always take me to rummage sales and buy me like little cheap books and coloring books and little knickknacks and things that were like 50 cents. And that I grew up on those, right? And they were always so much fun as a kid, because as a kid you don't think about like materialism isn't what it is when you're an adult. When you're a kid, you're like, oh yes, that octopus toy there, that dingy like hammer that's been used over and over again, will do. We'll make sure of it. And so I really like it. It feels very 90s, like with the little 100 yen toys and all that. It felt very like a 90s festival, and he's out trying to find, and this makes sense because Natsume is a high schooler. High schoolers don't have money. Here's the thing, like Natsume doesn't have a job. He's just living with the Fujiwaras, so he doesn't have like a job. So he probably gets an allowance from his from Toko and her husband, but he doesn't have a job, so he's just kind of tight on money. So of course, going to a rummage sale and buying like a little set of 4 dishes, that seems really reasonable, right? Buy it for a couple bucks and just get them for Toko. I like that Nyanko sensei tries to like fool Natsume with the whole like the lucky cat, which is so cute next to the Daruma doll. Actually, when you see the lucky cat next to Nyanko sensei, he does look a bit different. He does look more and more different than the lucky cat. So maybe I can see now why people are fooled by him. When you actually see them side by side, you're like, oh, okay. That makes a little bit more sense. That and Nyanko sensei has just gotten fat from eating all the food. But I like these, like, I want a bowl. Get me a bowl too, Natsume. And Natsume's like, after getting clocked in the nose by him, he's like, thank you. Sure. It's really funny. But yeah, so as he's going through, he gets the bowls and then he feels the strange presence coming from the haunted painting. I'll be honest, this entire episode, everything about this painting, do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of a series of books I read when I was a kid. It reminded me of the Goosebump books. If you're from the US, you probably know about Goosebumps. They were really popular in the 90s, like really popular. And they were just like, it was like grade school horror. Like, what would be a grade school horror book? And I liked them because I don't normally like scary things, but I could do Goosebumps because it wasn't really scary. It was just more creepy than anything. Their stories were always creepy. They were never scary, just creepy. And this whole idea of a haunted painting that slowly is sucking your life away as it spreads its roots throughout the house and takes over, that felt like such a Goosebumps plot. And then usually the Goosebump books, I always liked them because they had a twist. Like when I was a kid, I loved that you'd get to like the third act and there'd be a twist and you'd be like, oh, that's what this is. And so I really liked that this, you know, the twist is that the guy in the painting's just trying to get to Mia. They're trying to reunite, right? That's kind of the twist ending. So I was thinking about the whole reaction. And of course the guy's like, oh, well, you know, you can have it if you want. And I'm like, bitch, you're just trying to like get this painting away because it's probably cursed and you feel like an ominous presence from it. I like that with Natsume and the opening cards, like the name cards, like this is the man amidst the rows of cherry trees. There is like all these like knickknacks and stuff on scattered across the ground. It looks like a photo that they've superimposed to look like a cell drawing. They've been doing that the last several episodes for season 2, and it's kind of cool. So I like that Nyanko sensei, Madara, questions why Natsume would hang up this picture of dead trees or trees in winter. I like that Madara is like, that's an ugly painting. Why are you hanging it up? And Natsume says it looks nice. And the thing about it is Natsume has always struck me as kind of like a bit melancholy. So Natsume, I think, would find meaning in the trees with no, I feel like it's almost like a psychological Freudian sort of, Natsume's drawn to it because the trees kind of represent himself. Like the trees are bare. They don't have any blossoms on them. They're bare and open and transparent. So I feel like Natsume all the time is worried people are judging him. And so he feels like those trees that are very transparent and open, but the reality is most people don't really know what's going on. They're just like, oh, that's kind of weird, and kind of keep walking. But I feel like Natsume always feels like he's being watched. Also, did not notice the man in the forest until Mia points it out. But you can see as I'm watching this episode again, when they're talking about, you know, I wish the flowers were in bloom in the painting, you can see him standing there. That's creepy. Didn't notice that the first time around. Wasn't even noticing that. But now that you see it, it's like you can't unsee it. And so my theory was, before Natsume ruined it by explaining it all to us, my theory was that the tree was slowly sucking the energy out of Natsume. I wondered if he was trying to use Natsume as a host, to maybe like use him as a host in this instance and like try to like slowly like take him over and possess him, since a lot of yokai have tried to possess Natsume. That's what I thought that they were going to do. That's not entirely the route it went, but as soon as Mia was talking about wanting to see him again, I'm like, because let's be fair, lots of yokai in this series have tried to possess Natsume to get back with their other yokai lovers. So I was like, is Natsume going to be possessed by Yakasaka or whatever his name is? We'll get it here in a second, to try to get back to Mia. That doesn't end up happening entirely, but Natsume does start to feel like his chi and everything, like his whole entire id being disassociated and being disturbed by the presence of the painting. And then of course, I love the idea that Mia just like drops her hand down from the ceiling and spreads the flower petals. The imagery, Natsume Yujin-Cho finds a way to make the imagery just slightly creepy. Just a little bit creepy. And the image of just a woman's hand lowered down from a tree scattering blooms. The scattering blooms doesn't make it creepy, but anytime he'd like look up at her in the flashbacks and it'd just be her hand dangling there, I was like, I figured he could see yokai and he knew that she was a yokai from the start. Because one, it's like, why didn't he pursue her and ask her to come down and show herself? He just kind of accepted the fact that she was just this hand dangling from a tree. I mean, if you thought it was a person, you'd kind of be like, hey, come down and talk to me. What are you doing up in that tree all day? But he never questioned it. So I wondered if maybe he was more spiritually in tune and just kind of, he figured out, he's like, oh, she a yokai. But he didn't want to say anything because he didn't want to, one, ruin the opportunity of her to keep talking to him, right? Because it was something different from his everyday life. And two, he maybe didn't want to anger the yokai and get it to attack him because he was frail. So I think he knew she was a yokai, but that's why he never asked her to come down. And I think that when he stopped coming to visit her, he died. I think that's what it was, that the spring he stopped visiting her, he had passed away, and she just kept going and looking for his spirit. And I think he became a yokai because he had unfinished business. He was a ghost for the unfinished business. He never got to see her again under the cherry blossom trees. And it took, as Natsume says at the end of this episode, I was like, what's stealing my ideas? They had to recreate the cherry blossom scene for him to be with her again, for them to like connect through the painting. That's my theory anyway, because Madara says that a yokai painted the picture, so maybe the yokai was able to imbue his spirit into the painting. That's my theory. I think it's pretty straightforward in that regard. But yeah, I like that he blames Madara for bringing in the petals, and Madara's like, I most certainly did not. But also, I really like this shrimp dish. Whatever shrimp dish they made using the bowls, it looks like shrimp pasta or Alfredo or some kind of soup with the shrimp. It looks amazing, and I want it. But, And of course, Madara, his tongue touches the part of the bowl that is hot, which you're not supposed to do, and he ends up getting zapped by it. So yeah, they both end up finding, I like that Madara talks about it could be fairies and that they're going to catch them. The little fairy drawing they show is really, really cute. And I was like, is that Puck from Berserk? But it is really cute. I like that he's using like a butterfly net to try to catch the flowers or whatnot. But yeah, the one thing that gets me is that, and I guess it shouldn't surprise me, but when the yokai comes down with the mask is creepy. The smiley mask, it is a little bit creepy there. But as many times as Natsume has seen yokai, and as many times as he knows that's probably what it is, I'm like, you still screaming? You should know by now. I guess it's just, a reflex. I would probably scream too, even if I was used to it, right? But of course, Madara, I love that Madara, to this day, is still saying, well, I just don't want these other yokai to be eating you because it's my job later on. I'm like, Madara, just settle for the fact that you do like Natsume and you don't want him hurt, right? So she's trying to get him to come out of the painting, to get Yakasaka. Is it Yakasara? Yeah, and of course Natsume's like, oh shit, I didn't notice the picture. Yasaka-sama. There we go. Yasaka is the one that's trapped in the painting, and Mia is trying to get back to him. Of course, the painting attaches itself to the wall, and Madara's like, y'all are... I like that Madara's like, I warned you not to put that painting up, but here we are. There were a lot of really cool stylistic things that the episode did. I really liked when she appears the next day, and there's like the black and white bars of light through the blinds, and she like shows up coming back the next day, and she gives him the 2 butterflies, which was really cute. And I figure the moment she brought the 2 butterflies out, that this was going to be a romance, that she was talking about the 2 butterflies and the 2 of them wanting to reconnect amidst the cherry blossoms. I really like how Natsume Yujin-Cho does romance. It's very bittersweet. There's some melancholy, but it usually ends with a happy ending. And that's my kind of like, I can do angst if there's a happy ending, right? Or I can do a bittersweet ending if there is the possibility left ambiguous that they could have a happy ending, right? What's the point of watching romance if they're not going to be happy in the end? That's why we read it, right? Says everybody else, it's like, But I like my fluffy happy endings. Like, I can go through some angst and trauma as long as we have that happy ending at the end. And I just love the idea of this young, youthful heir under the cherry blossom trees. and she chides him. She's like, the blossoms are so beautiful. Like, why are you reading that book? Why can't you appreciate them? And he's like, well, why can't I do both? And they just start this relationship. It's so sweet. And she just keeps coming back talking to him over and over again. But then she's like, I was afraid to get too close to him because I was afraid he'd find out what I actually was. And if he found out I was a yokai, would he be disappointed? Would he feel there was no need to continue the relationship? Would he back out? What would his reaction be at that point? And that's so sad because it's so relatable. And Natsume instantly connects with her in that moment because that's how he feels. He's like, I care about all these people like Toko and his classmates and Sasada. And I mean, and Takuma knows. Takuma and Taki kind of know already. But he's like, I care about Toko and these others. But I'm afraid if I tell them about myself, they will run away. That they will not accept me for who I am. And it will be a burden. And he's like, I finally have found a safe place in this home with these people. I don't want to jeopardize it. And that kind of is like Mia with the cherry blossom tree. She found this sanctuary in the cherry blossom tree with him there too, and she didn't want to jeopardize it. So it kept her from being truthful. And that's exactly how Natsume feels. He feels the exact same way. And she's like, we were friends who only spoke during flower season. And he's like, if I ever am giving freedom, I want to travel everywhere to my heart's desires. Wouldn't it be wonderful to see the flowers of the world? And he's like, there's so much I want to tell you. But then he disappeared and she waited. The scene of her just waiting for him and the hand just dangling is such a creepy, powerful, beautiful image. It's so simple, but it's really, really effective. And she's like, I don't have any idea where he might be, but I was told that a yokai that was famous for their art had painted this picture, and maybe he was dissatisfied with the world of men and escaped into that painting. And I traveled in hopes of making him happy with it. And someday, once his heart is healed, he'll come out from within. I feel like he died and his spirit was put in the painting so that it could eventually reunite with her. But because he's died and he's not with her, the trees are bare. He's not with her. He can't see her. So he knows that it has to be like when the cherry blossoms aren't in bloom. It's just all these little subtle symbolic things in this episode that are done really, really well. And she's like, I just want to talk to him again. And again, Natsume is so empathetic that he knows exactly, he wants to help her and he knows how she feels. And Madara tries to say that it's just a painting. It's nothing but painting trees with Hisaka standing around. It has no properties, whatever. And I feel like Madara did that to protect Natsume. He's like, we need to just let her burn it and get it off the wall. There's nothing special about it, because I think he was worried that Natsume, it would get out of hand and then they wouldn't be able to solve the crisis and Natsume's life would be in danger. So Madara was like, let's just get rid of it and not worry about it. Something else I really liked about this episode too is that we've done this a couple episodes now, is that we didn't necessarily focus on the Book of Friends. Like neither of the two yokai in this episode were part of the Book of Friends. They just happened by happenstance to come across Natsume, and then in the end they just kind of run off together. And I kind of like that. I like that the Book of Friends is not solely our way of interacting with yokai. But yeah, poor Natsume, like getting sicker and sicker as the painting is like draining his life away. I do love Madara in the little field of clover bouncing around. It's super cute. And then of course, as this adorable moment with Madara like bouncing through the clover and the clover buds is happening, Natsume is wondering, you know, if Mia and the painting had traveled in scenes like this. Like, what had that been like? And then this random spirit shows up that Madara just knows. It's like, oh, it's Harujizo. As if we should know them. And he's like, oh, every spring he tells people's fortunes. It's part of his training. Just no big deal. I like Madara is not even bothered. Like, not even a thing. But that's when he says that Natsume has a foul shadow swirling and a tree emerging from your corpse. Which is a very creepy fortune, right? And he's like, well, wait, hold on. And that's when Toko sees him. And Toko's like, what's wrong? Why were you standing alone and shouting? And Natsume's like, shit. Like, yeah, from an outside perspective, me standing here shouting to the wind looks weird. And he's like, I don't want her to think that I'm weird. And I don't want her. And she just kind of stares at him, you know. And he's like, I wasn't. Even though he was very clearly yelling. And Madara looks over at him like, what are you going to say, Natsume? Like, how are you going to cover this? And he says, it's nothing. And then Madara kind of looks around. And she's like, do you promise it's nothing? And he's like, yeah. And the thing about it is, I don't think that Toko is saying, oh, do you promise it's nothing? Because she's ashamed that he's, you know, someone that can see spirits or thinks that he's a weirdo. I think she's like, oh, do you promise it's nothing? Because I'm worried about you and I'm concerned about you. And I want to make sure nothing's wrong. Like, that's what she is. I think that's what Toko feels. But Natsume is so used to the people around him in the past hearing him out and thinking he was weird and ostracizing him that he doesn't, I don't think that possibility of an interpretation even crosses his mind, right? And he has good reason to not have that interpretation cross his mind. But I think we, the audience, can kind of see Toko would probably accept him, right? I do think at some point it's going to come out and it's going to be a conflict and Natsume is going to have to deal with what the Fujiwaras think about him being able to see spirits and what they say about it. I would like to think they're going to be supportive and be like, you can stay here, we don't judge you. But I don't know what that's going to be like. I'm not ready for that to happen in this series yet, so we're going to hope that's not the case, but yeah. And that's when Natsume is like, I understand where Mia's coming from. I was afraid that Toko would discover the truth. I'm the same as Mia. So yeah, then the tree starts to take root and it's zapping his energy and spreading the branches around the house. And I like that, you know, Madara's like, I'm going to get rid of the painting, and Natsume keeps him from doing it. Because Natsume is, I don't think Natsume would describe himself as a romantic at heart, but I think he knew that Mia had this intense desire to be with Yasaka again and was trying to help her. And he knew Madara would mess that up. So he literally put himself in between the painting and Madara. And Madara, of course, is like, oh my God, Natsume, no, wake up, stupid Natsume. He calls him Aho Natsume, which reminds me of Slam Dunk because Kaname in that series calls Sakuragi, he's like, do-oh, which means, you know, dummy, big blockhead. So I recognize that Japanese phrase. And that's when Natsume hears the memory from Yasaka saying, Mia, if I'm ever given the freedom, I want to travel everywhere my heart desires. But I could never go alone. Would you accompany me? And the thing that's so crazy is that at the time he was alive, he couldn't travel the world with Mia because Mia was too afraid that he would judge her. And in this memory, he's like, I want to travel the world with you, but you're too afraid I'm going to leave you and judge you, and you won't let this happen. So it's almost like in this weird twist of fate, he had to die and become a yokai for them to get together and be able to go off and travel the world together. And it's really romantic. And I'm like, oh my gosh. In like this Romeo and Juliet, Casper kind of way. It's really romantic. And I'm like, oh, well, that's really sweet, actually. And that's when Natsume realizes, okay. And she's like, me carrying this for so long has given painting spiritual power. And your life's going to be in danger if we don't do something. And Natsume, even when his life is in danger, he still respects Mia and Yasaka enough that he wants to help them. Even though she's like, you know, he's gone from the painting. She's like, I had my time with this painting. We did travel the world together. So Mia's like, I got to travel the world with the painting. But the thing is, the painting was covered up the whole time, so he couldn't see it. But she's like, I got to travel the world with him, so I've had enough. We're good. I can burn this now and it'll be okay. But before she ends up doing that, Natsume is like, I want to find a way together that we can possibly salvage this situation and you don't have to burn the painting. And I love that Madara calls them idiots, but he looks away like a bunch of idiots. Like, who would have this idea? Like, he knows it's going to work and he's just like, you guys are insane, but he kind of knows it's going to work out. And he's like, Idiots, how dare you? Could have just done the easy thing and burnt the painting, but no. Natsume's like, we feel sad and anxious at the thought of telling the loved ones we care about the truth. And you can honestly, I know that this series is not remotely, its agenda has no ties to sexuality, because Natsume, you know, we don't get Natsume's sexuality at all. We can guess and be like, oh, him and Tanama or him and Taki or whatever. But I mean, that's not the point of this series. But I feel like the message about Mia feeling like she's a monster and not wanting to come out from the cherry blossom trees, or feeling like she needs to hide there, and Natsume saying he feels anxious at the thought of telling the loved ones we care about the truth, I think you could easily transcribe the message of this episode to talking about people like in the LGBTQ community that are talking about their sexuality or talking about something that makes them different, and how terrifying that is to tell someone you care about that, because even though that shouldn't make a difference, even though Toko and the Fujiwaras should still love Natsume, regardless of if he can see ghosts or not. As if that's something to you know, as if that's something to disown your family for. The fact of the matter is, something that you shouldn't be disowned for or ostracized for is so often something that people are ostracized and disowned for. And the relationships being broken over something that should not be broken with, I can understand why Natsume is terrified. And I feel like that message can relate to a lot of other people in communities like that. And it is, yeah. And so I think that's such a good message to bring about, that just because this is a dangerous situation doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to like get to where those people can be together. So Natsume knows that Yasaka is not going to judge Mia. He knows from that painting and from his memories he's had that Yasaka is ready to be with Mia and that he's not going to leave her. And so that gives him the motivation to work with Mia to get the cherry blossoms painted on the tree branches. And it looks so pretty when it's done. It's so cute. I'm glad that the blossoms disappeared though, because if Toko came in and saw just blotches of pink all over her walls, she'd be like, what should we do about this? Because the branches wouldn't be there. Yeah. But yeah, it's so pretty when it's done. It looks amazing. And then they just stand there. And then Natsume, of course, passes out from the paint fumes. No. I feel like he passes out because that's when Yasaka is like leaving him and taking the power of the painting with him. And for some reason, whenever she was in the square and she like faded out in frame, it felt for some reason like Reading Rainbow or The More You Know or one of those callbacks. But yeah, Natsume goes back and he's in the painting, and then he sees Yasaka, and the idea of both of her arms coming out of the cherry blossom tree and them falling into each other's arms and being able to be together. Like in that moment, they took off together to see the world and left the painting. That's so sweet and romantic. And of course the mask falls off and like, we don't get to see them kiss or anything, but you know they did. They had ghost kisses. It's so sweet. And he never saw Mia again. And it's possible his heart came to dwell in the painting, and the reason it took power from the branches was an effort to make the flowers bloom so he could see you again. He's like, are they still covered in flower petals? Oh, it's so romantic! Or was he freed from the painting and now they're traveling together? Could be both. Could be either one. They could be in the painting together, deep within the painting. Or they could have both escaped. I like to think they both escaped the painting and went together to see the world as spirits. That's my headcanon. That's what I think. And he's like, I wonder if Mia ever told him the truth. And that line there, what got me was, I feel like there's a part of Toko that understands what's going on. Because if you think about it, the Fujiwaras took him in. If you think about it, I'm sure they heard stories from the other family members about Natsume. But they love Natsume and they don't want him to feel bad and they don't want him to feel isolated or ostracized. So they're not saying anything. And I feel like Toko knows, but she doesn't want to say anything because she doesn't want him to worry and she doesn't want him to run away. So she's just making sure he's okay and he's not hurt and he's not, in danger. And as long as he's fine and not in danger, she's like, okay, then you come at your own time and you tell me whenever you're ready. I feel like that's what it is. Because when he's like, I wonder if Mia ever told him the truth, I'm like, he knew. He knew she was a yokai. And if he didn't know she was a yokai, he damn sure knows she is now. So it's like, yeah, I feel like it's a rhetorical question. And then Madara's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, nothing, sensei. And then he's like, goodbye, Mia, the friend I made in the season of flowers. Yeah. So, what a great episode. And it was such a standalone episode too. It was one of those episodes where we didn't have any of the other friends. We really just had Mia and Yasaka and Natsume and Madara, just the four of them. And I mean, I guess you could have the one spirit that came and did fortune telling and kind of became our catalyst for this. But there really weren't any other characters. I mean, Toko was there too. But it was just a nice little standalone that it always ends so romantically. Like, I would probably go read fan fiction of all the stuff that happens later on with these yokai that Natsume meets along the way. Because it was so romantic and sweet, and I wanted to read more. So, yeah, that was really, really cute. I enjoyed that quite a bit. So, yep. So I'm really curious to know your thoughts down below about this episode. I thought it was great. It was very short, sweet, concise, but as we've been doing with this series so far, we're getting little moments with Natsume and his character developing and questioning and just growing slowly but surely, like a little bud, a little cherry blossom blooming amongst the trees. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. I'm excited to hear your thoughts down below, but I will be back next week with episode 23 of Natsume Yujin-Cho, or Natsume's Book of Friends. Bye!